Okay, so today's lesson is multi-step equations, and as I told you already, if you did not do well on the two-step equations quiz, which you can check Skyward to find out, you should work on Khan Academy on two-step equations, maybe a little bit today before you start working on the homework for this. So we'll be doing a couple different things. We'll be solving multi-step equations by combining like terms, and we're also going to solve multi-step equations using the distributive property. I think we are going to hold off on number 3, solving equations involving fractions, just because I know you all love fractions so much. We're going to save it and give it its own special day. Okay, so first, solving multi-step equations by combining like terms. If we look at our first equation up here, we have a lot of extra stuff on the other side. It doesn't look like a normal two-step equation. So we have a few terms that are alike. We have a 5m and a 2m. We need to combine those and simplify that side to turn it into a two-step equation before we can solve. So if I combine 5m and 2m, volunteer to tell me what you get. Lewis? 7m. Good. You're just adding 5 plus 2. Don't try to subtract 2 as if you're trying to move it to the other side. You're just taking the signs that already are in front of the numbers. So we have positive 5, positive 2, so you're going to add them together, and you get 7m. We still have minus 23, and on this side we still have equals 5. It's important that you bring everything down, just the new part. And it is the commutative property of addition that allows us to do this. We can move this 2m kind of over next to the 5m and add those together first before we subtract 23. So that's a way we actually use that property. Okay, now it's a two-step equation. Lily, what would I do next to solve it? Good. Add 23 because it says minus 23 and I need to do the opposite. So I end up with 28 equals 7m. 7m means 7 times m, which is multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4. So m equals 4. Okay, next example. First we want to look for our like terms. So we have 11b, and we also have negative 6b. Make sure you do not forget about this minus sign or negative sign in front of the 6b, because that tells us what operation we need to do. We have 11b minus 6b. 11 minus 6 is just 5b. So we have 5b minus 8 equals 22. So we just turned it into a two-step equation. Levi, what would I do first to solve this two-step equation?
So add good. 8 to both sides.
Good. Add 8 to both sides. So plus 8, we end up with 5b equals 30. And then what would I do? Levi, keep going with this.
Well, you divide by 5
Good.
on both sides.
Good. Divide both sides by 5. And we end up with b equals 6. And we can check these the same way that we checked our other ones. So I'm going to do the check of this. Just put a check mark to show that I'm checking. I'm going to evaluate my original equation. 11 times 6 minus 8 minus 6 times 6 should equal 22. 11 times 6 is 66 minus 8 minus 36 should equal 22. I'm going to use commutative property to subtract 66 and negative 36 first in my head, because that's pretty easy. That's going to leave me with 30. And then I'm going to go over here and think 30 minus 8 is 22. So I do have the correct answer. Okay. There's one for you to try on this slide. So if you're watching the video, you should pause the video at this point so that you can try this. You will get better understanding if you try it, struggle with it, and then see the answer rather than just watching me do the answer. So pause the video at this point, do the problem, and then check back. Okay, so first thing that you need to do on this problem, I saw a couple people who tried to start solving it without simplifying first. Make sure you always start by combining like terms. So we're combining negative 2y and 5y. You get 3y. We still have plus 5 equals 14. Subtracting 5 from both sides gives us 3y equals 9. Dividing both sides by 3 gives us y equals 3.
I got it right.
Okay, the next part's not all that difficult either. So if you're doing well with this, if you did well with two-step equations, this should be fairly easy for you. Okay, solving an equation using the distributive property. Sometimes people call this the rainbow rule because we are distributing by multiplying the number in front of parentheses to every one of the terms inside of the parentheses. We're going to do that first before we try to solve. We cannot solve this equation by just adding 1 to both sides because we have to simplify it first. Negative 8 times 2x is negative 16x. And then we have to think about this negative sign in front of the 1. This is a negative 8 times negative 1, which is positive 8. Biggest problem people have when simplifying with distributive property is getting the signs mixed up. So make sure you think about your rules for multiplying integers. Okay, now we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. On the left, I'm left with negative 16x equals 36 minus 8 is 28. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 16 to get rid of the negative 16 in front of the x. And I get x equals, I can just take this fraction, 28 over 16, and I can reduce that and leave it as a fraction. So I know that 4 goes into both 28 and 16. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And I'm dividing a positive divided by a negative. So my answer needs to be negative. So I can just express that as x equals negative 7/4. Okay, the next one is for you to try. So anyone watching the video should pause at this point and try it and then check back for the answer. Okay, so on this, another mistake that I saw that I want to point out is make sure you multiply the 3 times both terms. A lot of times people forget to multiply the second one. Even when you draw the lines, you sometimes forget. So we have 18 equals 6x minus 18. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Adding 18 to both sides gives us 36 equals 6x. Dividing both sides by 6 gives us x equals 6. And for the majority of you, you did get that correct answer. So I was happy to see that. We are going to stop the recording here, and I will give you your homework assignment. I need to look in the textbook, so it will be on Canvas, so that everyone who's not here will know what to do.